Everyone wants passive income. The idea sounds perfect. Make money while you sleep. Earn without working. Build wealth automatically. But there's a problem. Most passive income advice was designed for a completely different world. A world with lower inflation, different technology, and far less competition. Today, that world no longer exists. While millions of people are still following the same old advice, the economic landscape has quietly changed beneath their feet. Inflation continues to eat away at purchasing power. Every year the cost of living rises. Food becomes more expensive. Housing becomes more expensive. Transportation becomes more expensive. Yet many people still keep their savings sitting inside traditional bank accounts, earning almost nothing. On paper, their money appears safe, but in reality, it's slowly losing value. Imagine two people each have $10,000. One leaves the money in a traditional savings account earning almost no interest. The other moves the same money into a high-yield account designed to take advantage of today's higher interest rate environment. At the end of the year, both people still have their money, but one person has allowed inflation to quietly reduce their purchasing power. The other has at least given their money a chance to fight back. And that's the first major lesson of passive income in 2026. The goal isn't simply to make money. The goal is to build assets that work harder than inflation. Because the biggest financial risk today isn't always losing money. Sometimes it's letting your money sit still. But an even bigger shift is happening. A shift that could completely redefine what passive income looks like over the next decade. For years, businesses relied on software to help employees work faster. Software organized information, tracked customers, managed documents, stored records. But despite all of that technology, one thing remained the same. Humans still had to do the work. Now, for the first time, that assumption is beginning to change. Because software is no longer just helping people perform tasks. It's starting to perform the tasks itself. And that changes everything. The rise of AI-powered passive income. A few years ago, software helped people do their jobs faster. Today, software is starting to do the job itself. And that changes everything. Think about it. Traditional software was basically a tool. A CRM tracked customers. An accounting platform stored financial records. A support system organized customer tickets. Useful? Absolutely. But none of those tools actually completed the work. A human still had to sit down and do it. Now imagine a system that doesn't just organize tasks, it completes them. That's the shift we're seeing right now. It's called AI agents. And for many businesses, this could become one of the biggest opportunities of the decade. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Old software sold access. New AI systems sell outcomes. Businesses don't wake up in the morning wanting more software. They want more sales, faster operations, less paperwork, fewer mistakes, and lower costs. If an AI system can deliver those outcomes automatically, companies are willing to pay for the result, not the tool. The result. For example, think about a dental clinic. Every month there are insurance claims, compliance forms, patient records, and administrative tasks that have to be completed. Most clinics don't enjoy doing any of that. It consumes time, it costs money, and mistakes can become expensive. Now imagine an AI workflow that handles most of those repetitive processes automatically. The clinic isn't buying software. They're buying freedom from administrative headaches. The same thing is happening in accounting. Thousands of documents need to be reviewed, categorized, validated, and entered into financial systems. Traditionally, that required hours of manual work. Now AI can process much of that workload automatically, dramatically reducing the amount of human labor required. Customer support is another massive example. Instead of paying employees to answer the same questions over and over again, businesses are increasingly using AI systems that can resolve routine issues automatically. Refund requests, appointment confirmations. Basic troubleshooting. all handled in seconds. And the really interesting part? Most of these businesses don't care how the technology works. They only care that the problem disappears. That's why many experts are calling this shift service as a software. Not software as a service, service as a software. Because customers are no longer paying for access to a tool, they're paying for completed work. And this creates an entirely new type of digital asset. Imagine spending months building a traditional business, hiring employees, managing staff, handling operations, solving problems every day. Now compare that to creating an automated workflow that handles a large percentage of the work on its own. One model requires constant attention. The other becomes more efficient over time. Of course, AI isn't perfect, and this is where most people make a mistake. They assume automation means zero oversight. It doesn't. The smartest operators start with what some experts call a trust battery. At first, every action is reviewed by a human. Every decision is checked. Every process is monitored. But as reliability improves, more responsibility gets handed over to the system. Eventually, the AI handles routine tasks automatically, while humans focus only on unusual situations. And that's where things become scalable. Because instead of selling your time, you're building systems that continue producing value long after the initial setup. But before you rush off trying to build an AI business, there's something even more powerful you need to understand. Because AI isn't the only asset that can generate income while you sleep. In fact, the next category can be created once and sold over and over again for years. Let's talk about digital assets. Create once, sell forever assets. The Internet has created a new type of asset, one that doesn't require a warehouse, doesn't require employees, and doesn't require shipping trucks moving products across the country. These assets exist entirely in digital form, yet they can generate income for years. Today, millions of people are buying solutions online, not because they want more information, but because they want faster results. A student wants a study template. A freelancer wants a client management system. A business owner wants a financial dashboard. And instead of building these tools themselves, they pay someone who already has. This is why digital products have quietly become one of the most attractive passive income models in the modern economy. Unlike traditional businesses, the creation process happens only once. The distribution can happen forever. A creator spends days building a Notion template, an Excel dashboard, a budgeting system, an online course, or a printable guide. After that, every additional sale costs almost nothing to deliver. But there's an important detail that separates successful creators from unsuccessful ones. Most people build first and validate later. Successful creators do the opposite. They validate demand before they create anything. They test ideas, build waitlists, collect pre-orders, and measure interest before investing their time. Because the biggest risk isn't creating a bad product. The biggest risk is creating a product nobody wants. And once demand is confirmed, technology handles almost everything else. Payments, delivery, customer access, automation. The creator builds the asset once. The system sells it repeatedly. But even the best product in the world has a problem. If nobody sees it, nobody buys it. Which leads to the next evolution of passive income. The asset that fuels every other asset. Attention. The attention layer. For years, people believed content was the business. Start a YouTube channel, start a blog, post on social media, and eventually the advertising revenue would arrive. But in 2026, the smartest creators understand something different. Content is no longer the business. Content is the engine. The purpose of content is not to generate income directly. Its purpose is to generate attention. Attention can then be redirected into higher value assets. Courses, templates, communities, affiliate partnerships, AI services, consulting, subscriptions. Every successful creator is operating a funnel, whether they realize it or not. Someone discovers a video. The video builds trust. Trust creates curiosity. Curiosity creates action, and action becomes revenue. This is why newsletters are growing, why niche blogs continue to survive, why short-form content dominates social media. The goal isn't simply views, the goal is ownership. Because views belong to platforms. Subscribers belong to creators. The creators winning today are not building audiences. They're building ecosystems. And once attention starts flowing into an ecosystem, every other asset becomes easier to sell. But what if you don't want to create content? What if you want income from assets you already own? Interestingly, many people are surrounded by opportunities without realizing it. Turning existing assets into income. Walk through your home for a moment. Look around carefully. How many valuable assets are sitting unused? A spare room, an extra vehicle, unused storage space, equipment collecting dust. For decades, ownership meant paying for something and hoping it increased in value. Today, ownership can generate cash flow immediately. Platforms have transformed idle assets into income-producing assets. A vehicle can become a rental business. Unused storage can become recurring monthly revenue. A spare property can generate short-term rental income. Even tools and specialized equipment can be rented to people who need temporary access. The idea is simple. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" ask, "What do I already own?" Because passive income often starts with better utilization rather than new investment. Of course, physical assets introduce challenges: maintenance, damage, vacancy, regulations, which is why many investors prefer another route entirely, one that combines simplicity with diversification. And that brings us to the most important concept in this entire video, the 2026 Passive Income Barbell Strategy. Most people approach passive income from one extreme. Some become obsessed with safety. Others become obsessed with growth. Both approaches have weaknesses. The safest assets often grow slowly. The fastest growing assets often carry significant risk. The solution is balance, not in the middle, but on both ends. This concept is known as the barbell strategy. On one side sits your defensive anchor, assets designed to preserve wealth, high-yield savings accounts, certificates of deposit, treasury bills, income-producing real estate investments. Their purpose isn't explosive growth, their purpose is protection. Protection against inflation, protection against uncertainty, protection against financial emergencies. On the opposite side sits your offensive engine, digital products, AI-powered businesses, courses, newsletters, affiliate systems, scalable online assets. Their purpose is growth. These assets carry greater uncertainty, but they also create the possibility of exponential returns. The mistake most people make is choosing only one side. The winners build both. They create security with defensive assets and create freedom with offensive assets. The result is a system that can survive economic uncertainty while still capturing future opportunities. And if I were forced to start from absolute zero today, this is exactly how I would do it. Starting from zero first, I would build a financial foundation. Before chasing passive income, I would secure stability. Because opportunities are difficult to pursue when survival becomes the priority. Next, I would move idle cash into higher yield vehicles designed to protect purchasing power. Then I would begin creating assets, not dozens of assets. 1. A single digital product, a single system, a single offer. After that, I would build an attention channel, a newsletter, a blog, a YouTube channel, something capable of attracting people consistently. Then I would explore automation. Using AI to reduce workload and increase output, every dollar generated would be reinvested back into assets. More systems, more automation, more ownership, Over time, the machine becomes larger than the individual operating it. And that's the real goal of passive income, not escaping work, not getting rich overnight, but building assets powerful enough to keep working even when you're not. But the most successful investors don't stop after finding a good opportunity. They build a system designed to survive uncertainty, a system designed to grow during change, and a system that doesn't depend on a single source of income. If I were starting from absolute zero today, I wouldn't chase dozens of passive income ideas. I would focus on building a foundation first, because every strong financial future begins with stability. Before trying to create wealth, I would make sure I could survive unexpected setbacks, because opportunities become much easier to pursue when you're not constantly worried about survival. From there, I would make sure my money is working instead of sitting idle. Every dollar should have a purpose. Every dollar should be assigned a job, not simply sitting in an account losing purchasing power year after year. Then I would begin building assets. Not 10 assets, not 5 assets, just one. One digital product, one offer, one system capable of solving a real problem. Because most people fail not because they start too small, they fail because they try to do too much at once. After that, I would focus on attention, because even the greatest asset in the world is worthless if nobody knows it exists. A newsletter, a blog, a YouTube channel. The platform doesn't matter nearly as much as consistency. Attention creates trust. Trust creates opportunities. And opportunities create income. Then I would begin introducing automation. Not to replace creativity, not to eliminate human judgment, but to remove repetitive work, to create leverage, to make every hour produce more value than it did before. And as income begins to grow, I wouldn't rush to upgrade my lifestyle. I would reinvest, again and again, into better systems, better assets, and better opportunities. Because eventually something remarkable starts to happen. The assets become larger than the effort required to maintain them. The machine becomes larger than the person who built it. And that's the point where passive income stops being an idea and starts becoming reality. The goal was never to get rich overnight. The goal was never to escape work completely. The real goal is freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, the freedom to survive economic uncertainty, and the freedom that comes from knowing your income no longer depends on a single paycheck. Because in the end, the people who win financially aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the luckiest. They're usually the ones who spent years quietly building assets, while everyone else focused only on income. So the question isn't whether passive income still works in 2026. The question is whether you're willing to build the assets that make it possible. And if you found value in this video, make sure to subscribe, because every week we break down the strategies, systems, and opportunities shaping the future of money. Until next time, keep building assets, keep building leverage, and let your money work harder than you do.